started on it, I pulled the drip gutter off, and I knew that I had a little bit of rot under here, but as you can see, right, I can't point to it, right there, I've got some rot that's back behind the brass, which changes things a bit. So I got this part opened up, that's the edge of this. But the trouble is, I've got a little bit there to fix. I've got a lot there to fix. And I've got to get in there and fix. And the trouble is, it's like I got to fix every little piece all the way around it. Because see, even that part of the frame, it's like there's barely anything holding this frame together. But right now, where I wanted to start, the trouble is that I'm dealing with the brakes. And so what I'm thinking of is coming down a little bit further. I'll see if I can get the light to shine up there. Always working in a wrong spot, wrong angle. What I'm thinking is coming down here, wherever I can get away from the brazing, and just coming across and building this piece up, which is going to allow me to get into here. And so instead of it just ending where it normally is supposed to, I mean, I can get close, but trying to is get a lot of this stuff out of here and replacing that as well. So if I get all of the brazing out, and then I can go ahead and fix the underside of the channel, which just goes up to here, to give me a starting point. Because I need a starting point. Ugh. I think that's the plan of attack. And then I can work my way around. I already started making patterns. Oof. Alright, that's where we're going. Check back in a little bit. Okay, so sometimes the hardest part is actually being able to get the old stuff out, because not everything, you can't just hack into everything, right? So what I've done, you can see right here, I've cut straight through. This is 3 layers right here, so I've cut straight through right here. And to do that, I use that guy, right? Hacksaw. That's fun. So I was able to get up through here and cut straight to get through that layer. And then what I've just done, because I had my rust hole right here, I've come and I've cut down here. I'll put the light back and knocked it down. There we go. Is that better? So what I've done is, this was my rust hole that I'm trying to get rid of. I've sliced down here. I've sliced down here. I also was able to cut across here using, again, the hacksaw blade, and just doing it by hand until I got it scored enough where I could get up underneath it, pry it down, and pop it off of there. So then I went ahead and I got these 2 spot welds drilled out. So what I'm hoping is I'm going to go ahead and pull this guy out, and that's going to give me enough room to get my little mini belt sander in here. And I'm hoping that I can just walk this straight back, because I don't have a good way of cutting this, and I'm really tired of using a hacksaw blade. So that's where we're at right now. And then what I'm hoping to do, because this is all solid except for this little spot, which I think I can put a piece of backer in there, just sort of chisel this out, put a piece of backer and weld that in and grind it smooth. And then I can go ahead and put this piece back in with this flange. I want to get up past that spot weld and just bring that right on across. And I'm hoping that that's going to take care of this transition piece. Now, there is some stuff here, but when I'm grinding it, it doesn't really look like brass anymore. So I'm going to wait until I get this piece off, and I'm going to see what's going on in there. And then I can go ahead and decide, do I have to bring this down any further, or can I just hook right to that? So that's where we're at right now. Okay, so I got my first little hole plugged right there. Good to go, right? So now, before, or actually no, I'm gonna do this bottom part here next, because that's gonna give structure to the whole frame. Because now we have this side here, we have the bottom side, that'll all be secured. From there, oops, gotta switch hands here. From there, what I want to do is I want to take this little triangle piece out, and technically it looks like it's part of this whole section, but I'm not going to get into that part. I want to get rid of here, of course, and if I can get that piece, there's only a little piece of it right up in there that's still holding. The whole rest of it is gone. So if I can just go ahead and take out, I've got some big honking spot welds right in here. Luckily they're very easy to see. But I take those out, and then I only have, like I said, that one little spot right there that's still holding. If I can separate that, it pokes up, if you see my finger in there, that whole piece will be disconnected all the way around at that point, and then I can just go ahead and finesse around the brass or whatever I want to do. There's enough metal under here touching that technically I could go ahead and separate this, get rid of the brass altogether, and just put a couple tack welds in there just to go ahead and hold it, and maybe not even have to worry about the brass, because then I could go ahead and make this whole piece as one and put it in there, and I think that's going to make things a whole lot better. All of this here all the way down and up to the back side of the lip. So that's kind of the plan. Okay, so here's my bottom patch. That's gonna fit right up in here if I can do two things at once. Okay, so it fits good, and then I just have to sort of round this corner down, but I'm not gonna disturb the patch until it's actually in place. So once it's there, then I'll have this bottom piece and this outside piece to keep the shape of everything. And then I can go ahead and get to the inside and start building everything back. Fun, fun. Okay, so there's patch number 2. I'm leaving it a little high right now, just so I can go back and address everything later. Apparently there is a little bit of brass back inside here from this other side, because when I tried just tapping that real soft just to hold it in place, it did not like it at all. So we'll fix that from the inside. But so now we've got our outside, we've got our inside, and now we can focus to all the tough crap up in there. So that's the next step. All right, so now I got this piece pulled out, and that goes up into that little, where am I even at? Right here, that little drip channel. So that, I went ahead and used my hacksaw blade again from the top, and just came right across. It's all still there. And then that comes up, and that's going to end up, I went ahead and cut up here. I gotta finish knocking off this little corner here, but I'm gonna make that hopefully all one piece. And I've got my template already for this. So then that should make, I don't even want to say the rest of it easy, because none of this has really been easy, but none of it's really been hard. So just keep plugging away a little bit at a time. But that's the next step right there. All right, so it ain't pretty, okay? But it fits in there. I'm not gonna do it on camera because it takes a whole lot of finagling. But once I get it clamped up, you'll see, okay? And just in case you're wondering, that's what I used. And my soft hammer. But you can see some dings in it, but it's all gonna be tucked up underneath. Inside here, it goes actually down like that. Something like that. So let me get it clamped up and we'll come back and take a peek. Okay, so here it is from the top. I do have my template here, but I can't fit it back in because I've got the other stuff there. But this is one nice straight plane, which actually made it easy. And if I can lean here, an idea. And for such a tiny little piece, there is a whole lot of shape in this thing. A lot more than I thought, because when I take, oh, where'd it go? This guy, right? This is my original template that I made for it. You slide it in, and it just seems like it's got a little bit of curve to it. Just slides right on in. Got my witness holes there. It'd line up, and it just doesn't seem like that much curve. But I don't know if you can actually see. I had to put a whole lot of curve to get it to match that flange, come up inside, and then roll into that part. But you can see, and once I get it tacked in, so this is in line, there's a little tiny edge here. I do have this little bump, but once I actually get everything tacked in, I can go ahead and just take some pliers and smooth that out, because it is just one nice continuous line. And actually, you can see it over there. And that one's not perfect, but that's what the gasket's for. So once I get it, because there is movement on that thing, so I can go ahead and tap that in a little bit more, or just straighten it up with some pliers. But for the most part, it is a nice, it's hard to line up, but from here, curls, and right in. And it's touching all of my pieces, so there we go. That's the big hard piece. Alright, so we'll do a quick shot of that piece in there now. And so now the question is, where that brass was, I might just put a little piece of something underneath to support the dash. Why bother with the brass again? And then you can see the transition here. I'm leaving this one clamped in there just because there's nothing holding it on that end. This side got tacked on here and then all the way along the bottom. But until I get something else in here, I'm leaving that guy in place so I can line everything up. But you can see transition. I can sort of smooth that out a little bit. It's funny because in the camera it makes it look wavy, but you look at it dead on, it's not. It's a nice curve to it. So what's that, patch number 3? I don't know, I'm losing count on this thing. Okay, so it's a week later. We got an absolute mess of clamps on this piece, but I've got my bottom piece that fits perfect all the way through. I've got the lip for my windscreen seal. That fits right. Everything's lined up, ready to go, held in place finally. Gonna go ahead and tack in between my clamps here so I can start moving things around and slowly weld that thing in so that I can get it off the car and finish it so that I can go ahead and cut that piece on out and get it to fit down in there. Alright, so that's a little easier to see with a lot of the clamps on out of the way. Okay, so here's the finished piece. Well, somewhat finished. And you can see, got it all stitched together here. The back side, what I'm thinking of doing is just putting this in a vise to go ahead and help control heat, and taking my TIG torch and just walking along this seam just to let the two pieces of metal blend together, because that's not going to build up a whole bunch, because it doesn't matter once this is in if it was built up, but I don't want a bunch of stuff sticking out and pushing me off. But I also don't want to have to go back and grind this if I don't have to. I want to try and leave as much weld as possible, because, there it goes, once this gets put in, whatever size it is, I have to walk in here with either just a cutting wheel and try and grind this stuff down smooth, or what have you. I mean, I can get in there with the little belt sander for a lot of it, but still feathering this out. And I think that I can actually leave some of that there, because once that rubber lip for the seal, I don't think that's going to really hurt that, but we're gonna play that by ear once we actually start grinding this part out. So I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and parent weld this all the way along. Shouldn't be hard. And then see what size we want to cut this to, so we can go ahead and start cutting this guy in. Okay, so here we go. Got it all primed up. Took a whole lot of trial fits and shaving a little bit at a time here and there. It fits in there good. I do have a bit of a gap down where my thumb is, but I'm going to get this piece in and then just use a little piece to bridge that. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and tack this guy in to hold him in place and start getting it together. So next stop is all tacked down. Alright, so beautifully tacked in. I went ahead and I started putting my filler piece, well, I put my filler piece in here and I started trying to grind that down because it's such a small little gap, it was hard to actually tell. But the nice thing is I was able to take the piece that I cut out from underneath there and use that as my filler piece, so it was actually going right back to where it was if I would have cut it in the first place. So now it's just a matter of going through. I got my my tacks all into the back side. All my the door bolts keep falling off here. You can see where everything follows right along. That part, I don't know why that sort of popped out of there, but that's okay, because that's just slop. Once I get this ground down, you can sort of see, you're probably upside down right now, but you can see where I got to trim all of this piece down to, but I'm saving all that until the very end. I'm going to go ahead and finish welding all the way around, grind everything down nice and slow, and then contour this corner so that it follows that line. That was the fun part. And get that all there, but the weld will all be on top, so it'll give me plenty to play with to go ahead and feather that out and keep that line nice and crisp. And boy oh boy, almost have half of a windshield back. So it's coming along. This has been right now it's well, it's the second weekend, so and then a little bit of time during the week for patterns and clamping and bending and clamping and bending and just letting the stuff sit, because a lot of times if you get it close and you can just clamp it in place, you just let it sit overnight and it'll go ahead and start taking its own shape after a while. But usually we're in too much of a rush, aren't we? So that's that. That's it for right now. Okay guys, so got done with the first side of the windshield frame, and this has been a real treat of a job, but it's done. It looks good. It's not 100% perfect, but it's okay. Nobody's gonna know unless you know exactly where to look on it. But it came out really well. You can see where we started at. This was rotted out. I took the drip edge off, and I'm still debating whether or not to put those on. This was all eaten away in here, and then you can see this was all eaten away up inside there, and I went ahead and replaced that whole piece. You can see right here, I went ahead and tacked on a little bracket to support the dash, because I'm not going to reconnect the dash over here. As far as I can remember, up here is the dash pad. Down here is the dash. There's gonna be the trim piece, I think, or something that goes over there. You're never gonna know that that's not touching, but I did go ahead and support it right there with a little bracket, so it's not going anywhere. So one side done. I don't know how this video came out when it's all done, because all I kept doing was taking short little snippets of as I was progressing through. If I just tried to sit there and actually do this job, and it looks really small and trivial, but there is a whole lot of shape in that piece, and it would have taken forever and a day for me to get done, because I'm busy recording it and talking the whole time. But just there's so much trial, like fit it and grind it and shape it and fit it and grind it, and then like days and days in between. You know, this has been a 2-week project where I worked probably at least 3 days straight, and then little bits in between there. So it's been a long process just to get this one corner done. Now luckily, if you can see it, it's easier just to hop over here and show you. So this side, you can see, luckily it's right to the edge. I think that corner is going to be solid enough, and I have the lip of the seal right there to work with. So it's 1 piece, 2 piece, hopefully. The only other thing to really worry about, which I'm not all that concerned, this is the bottom of the drip rail right here. And I think once I clean that off and get rid of the rest of that little gutter, that's gonna be fine. Get rid of my the leftovers from the spot welds and the one that I drilled through part way right there. Just gonna fill that, and I think that'll be good. And that'll be the entire windshield at that point, which will be great, because this has been something that's been bugging me for a long time, because it's a small area, but there are so many curves and so many pieces. Just like there's so much shape in that thing. And honestly, it would have probably been better if I could find somebody with a parts car that would have just taken a cutting wheel and cut out the corners for me and give me those and patch them back in as I need. But I already got the steel, I might as well do it myself. So, all right, so I think that is it for now. Apologize if this video runs really, really long, but see you next time, guys.